All right. Hello again. This is Ben Hitchcock Cross talking to you today. We've got part 3, 1, 2, 3 of the Whitefish Bay discrimination lawsuit here. We're getting into the part now where the parent, the mom, is going to the police station with the child to talk to the police about what has happened. They're essentially up to date. There has been a allegedly false allegation made to the principal, Amy Levick, by a senior who is alleged to have assaulted one of the plaintiffs here, a young man, a young pupil named KK. The senior CL then goes to the principal and alleges that the African American pupil assaulted the senior and threatened that the African American pupil's mother would shoot the senior. As far as I can tell, the district's investigation was limited to talking to the white brother of the white student who made the allegation. And then they went to the police. There is some very questionable comments during that video there. And then they send the police to the young man's house to, let's say, to tell him that he can't come to homecoming. And then the mother is trying to get some sort of redress from the district, including calling the superintendent. The district doesn't speak to her, so now she's going to the police department. As an aside here, I can tell you that I was at the high school yesterday. Just speaking from my own experience personally, it is a great district, and we did all the new parents go there. I did this several years with my niece. You follow the child's schedule throughout the whatever periods that there are, and you sort of walk and get extremely oriented in the building there because it's a labyrinth. So, it was an absolutely fun activity. Somehow, one of the periods that I had was free. We'll leave it at that. And we were sitting there, and as I usually am in the middle of a Danish conversation there, I really have no idea who, what, where, when, how. Needless to say, it just so happens that one of the people, the subject here is Amy Levick, comes up and not comes up, but is about 10 feet away. And she's doing her thing, we're doing our thing. And, it's sort of a multicultural moment for everybody, I guess. Here's the one thing, this is my news that I can personally report here firsthand. I got that this all broke a couple hours before I was there, but it was very clear that the school district was feeling it. Let's put it like that. The brand new assistant principal that they brought in place of Henningsen, he was feeling it based on my knowledge and experience, let's put it like that. And same thing with the principal there. So it's the deliberate indifference news update for the moment. Amazing school. One thing absolutely every room that I was in seemed like it had undergone some modification to be specific to an English, a science room. The brand new science room in there was amazing. So, all right. But let's get back to see, whatever good, there's a bad, for example. We are on paragraph 137. Miss White, this is one of the plaintiff, then took her son, KK, to the police station, the Whitefish Bay police station, so that he could give his side of the story to the Whitefish Bay Police Department. Because they had just gotten the principal's side. KK told the police that RIL had initiated the altercation, that's the senior, that RL had shoved KK, and that KK's statement had been, "I'll have my mom take care of you," not "I'll have my mom shoot you." Miss White told the police that she believed RL's conduct towards KK constituted harassment and bullying. Those would be, I would say, sort of school terms, but you'd kind of hope that the police department would understand that it was assault, and also possibly making a false statement. So let's just start with that. Miss White told police that she felt Levick had violated KK's due process rights by making the decision to exclude KK from homecoming based only on other students' allegations without giving KK a chance to tell his side of the story. And I think we spotted that last time for sure, and I think there is some question, that at least needs to be considered on there's sort of exigent circumstances, as it were, it being Friday night, the homecoming the next day, and so forth. There's other questions about was it appropriate to have the police get involved, and if the police were to be involved, should they be acting under the orders of the principal? Miss White told the police that she believed Levick's actions were racially discriminatory. I wonder where the police put that in their file. Miss White told the police that she intended to protest Levick's actions by staging a peaceful demonstration across the street from the homecoming dance. And this is where things are going to go real south real quickly for I would say Whitefish Bay. I think, in my opinion, these actions by the police are, we'll say, actionable, but we'll see how it goes. After meeting with Miss White, Sergeant Rossman reported to Levick and Thompson that KK denied making any statement about a gun or having his mother shoot anyone. Oh, well, now it's a different story. Levick stated she still was going to exclude KK from homecoming. Okay, and so now she's got a law enforcement officer has told her, and remember, the statement's just, if we're just going to compare sort of the penalties here, statement for lying to a principal, detention, statement for, punishment for lying to a police officer, possible jail time. Now, in the same call, Sergeant Rossman also reported to Levick and Thompson that Miss White intended to hold a demonstration protesting their handling of the allegation against KK. And this is, in my mind, the end, right here, right now. This is the, everything up until here, problematic, okay? Again, the hearing, telling him the child that they can't go to homecoming, problematic, but not like outrageous. And I think we're rapidly crossing into the level of an outrage, meaning that not any member of the community, including these people, should know that this is well beyond the bounds of conduct. What is the police telling the school that this lady's going to protest for? And this is going to get worse. In response, Levick and Thompson directed Sergeant Rossman to tell Miss White that if she set foot on school property, she would be arrested. Now, again, is that the kind of person that you want leading the school? Levick did review footage that night, but there was no footage of the altercation between RL, CL, and KK. So she's looking for non-existent video footage, but she still hasn't talked to the child yet, who's ready, willing, and able to talk to her. Oh, God darn it. I'll spell it out for everybody. I'm laughing because I was just so impressed with my thought. And it turns out Elizabeth Lambert, possibly others thought of it as well. Even though she had time enough to review video camera footage that night, and even though Levick knew that KK disputed RL and CL's allegation, Levick did not attempt to contact or call KK to get his side of the story. If you sense like a bit of good-natured rivalry, we are both Wisconsin attorneys working in the same space who are, I would say, collegial. So that should emanate here. At 8 p.m., Sergeant Rossman called Miss White and told her she would be arrested if she set foot on school property. A lesser person than I might point out that there's 2 spaces between the and the told, but I wouldn't do that. Being, because I'm not threatened or, let's say, in any way insecure because, all right. Being threatened, this is serious, and I'm sorry there, but it was, we're reacting here, and we take the good with the bad, and sometimes we laugh so we don't cry, and I think I mean that very literally here. Being threatened with arrest by her son's school administrators was devastating and traumatizing for Miss White. I should say so. I think that reaction to that is unnecessary, but also inescapable. Seeing her mother be threatened with arrest by his school administrators was devastating and traumatizing for KK. Good one. Good lawyering, good identification of the facts on both of those things. That's lining up some damages there. Miss White did not know that Thompson was involved in the decision to threaten her with arrest and believed at that time that only Levick had issued the threat. Because remember, she had, in good faith, reached out to the superintendent, who's no longer there. At 5:51 p.m., Miss White emailed Superintendent Thompson, saying that Miss Levick had excluded KK from homecoming activities and threatened her with arrest without even having a conversation with them. Again, the number one thing here, besides anything else, is this is the fact that the police threatened somebody with arrest on the orders of the principal is very problematic, Whitefish Bay Police Department. And, there needs to be reprimands for not only the, all across the board, not for the sergeant, for the management here. Let's be honest, the chief needs to, you can't have this cannot be happening where I get it that they're, high city officials and so forth, or village officials, but the principal cannot be ordering police officers to do certain activities, and the police officers cannot be following the orders. And just as in terms of, she doesn't have discretionary police powers, so that's problematic there. But also, they say that they're independent. At 8:51 p.m., Miss White emailed Superintendent Thompson saying that Miss Levick had excluded KK from homecoming activities and threatened her with arrest without even having a conversation with them. And again, just really good department, really good people. Seriously. And it's also the contradistinction here between the tale of two cities, as it were. And threatened, but okay. On the following morning, in fact, the superintendent, and you'll find this to be the case frequently in government things where they will say, for example, an ALJ will pretend to make a decision, but in fact it's made with consultation or on orders from their supervisor. So then when you go to their supervisor to say, hey, what's the deal with this decision, it's really not in good faith, even if it's formal or anything else. And we may see that play out here. Thompson is naturally going to be psychologically wedded to the threatening of arrest in defense of himself. I watched him in one of these meetings sort of discuss this, saying that it was difficult. And, these are tough issues here. And it's not tough not to threaten people with arrest for exercising their free speech. That's not difficult. You teach that in the school. It's not difficult. And you see how it's kind of, again, to have children be told this and taught that in the school that they can engage in free speech, and then to have the superintendent there actively suppressing free speech, that's what do you call just discordant. It's when we've overused contradistinction here, it's, I guess we could say, hypocritical, crosswise, um, mixed messages. That's what I was going for. It's a mixed message. And you know, why is mixed message important here? It's because these people are educators. Every single one is a licensed educator. That's why. If they're not officers, they're not law enforcement officers, they're educators. Okay. On the following morning, sometime before 10:19 a.m., Thompson called, that means probably an email. Thompson called Levick and told her that she had to meet with KK to afford him due process. That sounds like scienter. So knowledge of wrongdoing is what we would say. If Thompson had not told Levick she had to meet with KK, she would not have met with him until Monday morning. Oh, that's going to be good. Levick then texted to Henningsen, and this is, I think, the issue with Henningsen, and told her they had to speak with KK to provide him due process. And Henningsen replied, "I'm so pissed. Man, I just want to point out how I'm pissed here. Because instead of having a school year in a high school that should be, a good beginning, we are going to be focused on this. I guarantee you, because, the more I understand about this, the more and more upset that I get. And, we broke some of this story before, but we had very limited information. For educators to be talking about how they don't want to talk to the Thompson then emailed Miss White and told her that he instructed Levick to meet with her. That's awesome. Miss White asked if Thompson was available to meet with her, and he replied, "I am unavailable today," and then completely undermining himself, saying this is a building level principal issue right now, which of course is nonsense because he's actively involved in the... I mean, in some ways it's good that these guys were allowed to leave before this came out, but believe me, we would have had I guess what I'm feeling right now is that we were robbed of the chance to democratically scrutinize this issue because the district should have come out and got in front of this and talked all about it, and we should have had, and I guess we'll get into the role of the attorneys on this one, and of course I mean the district's attorneys on this here, but I know that the district, for all the Whitefish Bay parents out there who are unhappy about this boat being rocked, you better understand that the district had every ability to handle this, and that the president of the school board told everybody, including yours truly, to shut up. So, on 10:30 a.m. on a Saturday, September 30th, just in case you think they're like off hours or there's the weekend or whatever, Levick interviewed another student whom RL had identified as a witness. Okay. So now they're trying to cover their tracks already. On information and belief, Levick interviewed RL's friend O. Levick had time to meet with O, a witness sympathetic to RL and CL, on Saturday morning, but refused to meet with KK until Monday morning, absent Thompson's instruction. I get it, but would not have, 10:42. On Saturday, Levick emails Miss White and indicates that she and Miss Henningsen spoke with KK and got his side of the story. They will. At 11:17, Levick and Henningsen spoke with KK and Miss White by phone. This was the first opportunity KK had to tell anybody from the district his side of the story. We're not like 24 hours into this investigation and it's already outrageous. Like, not only biased and the thing needs to be redone and the, serious compensation needs to flow for robbing this kid of, his homecoming and everything else, but the people who were involved in this decision, in my opinion, are not educators. Because everything that's happening there is protecting their illegal decision and the child, which apparently they now know. I mean, at this point, Levick knows that either RL lied to her or KK is lying to her, but they're mutually exclusive. KK told Levick and Henningsen that RL and CL had initiated the assault, that RL pushed him, and that RL had said, that KK had said, "I'll have my mom take care of you, not I'll have my mom shoot you." Miss White asked Miss Levick and Miss Henningsen how many students had made statements alleging that KK had made a threat. Oh, Miss Levick and Miss Henningsen refused to tell Miss White how KK how many students had made statements. At that time, Miss White and KK did not know RL's name, only knew that he was CL's older brother. Oh yeah, because they're protecting the pupil privacy. Easy test. Any Whitefish Bay parent out there, if your kid was KK, what would you do? Would you find this acceptable, or would you be in federal court? That's all you need to ask yourself. Because I don't think I could call myself an advocate for my children and allow this government to not only, let's say, impugn his good name, but then threaten me with arrest for attempting to defend his good name peaceably and in publicly according to the Constitution. You know, the old redress of grievances, the old First Amendment. I guess also need to ask you that. Do you feel the threat of arrest on the mother is worse than the the denial of due process? Where are you at with that? I think it doesn't need to be a hierarchy, but I think it's interesting if there is one. Okay. Bam. White told Levick and Henningsen that she wanted to file a bullying complaint against the students who initiated the altercation. Levick and Henningsen told White that she could fill out the bullying complaint. Well, so they were already supposed to, without knowing the student's name, since Levick and Henningsen knew who the student... You got to wonder if they would tell a white family who the student was. You got to. Levick and Henningsen told Miss White that they would investigate further to determine if RL pushed KK. Now, remember, RL is no longer at the school, right? He would have graduated by now. Miss White filed a bullying complaint. Now, they're required to investigate by state law, but that's about it. That is something that needs to change here in Wisconsin. The bullying harassment policy law is a failure, and the DPI is a failure at enforcing it, and the school districts make a mockery of it. School board harassment investigation procedures provided that, one, the Title IX coordinator was to provide a written acknowledgement to the complainant upon receiving a written harassment complaint. And two, that an administrator was to conduct an initial screening. And if the complaint was determined not to involve conduct, that violated the district anti-harassment rules to notify the complainant of the determination. Ms. White did not receive any acknowledgement or notice of a screening decision regarding the harassment complaint she filed against RL and KK for more than 2 months. Oh, I wonder what they were doing at that time. And after hearing KK's side of the story, Levick and Henningsen did not circle back to RL, CL, or O to evaluate how they responded to KK's version of events. Upon information and belief, CL and O were the only witnesses. How do they even get to O then? That corroborated RL's allegations against KK. Man, I'd love to see those phone logs. At almost 2 o'clock on September 30th, Levick emailed Miss White to confirm that she would not allow KK to attend the homecoming dance that evening. Well, what about CLRL? What about those dudes? Are they going to the homecoming, or what's happening with them? In her email, Levick stated, "We will evaluate potential school-based consequences on Monday morning." See, she's still not afraid that she had used police power to tell somebody, threaten arrest on somebody for exercising their free speech. KK may come to the office while we make that determination, or you may keep him at home and we will contact you. Miss White responded to Levick's emails to ask if they had been able to confirm whether RL pushed KK, but Levick and Henningsen did not respond. On 7:15 p.m. on September 30th, Miss White spoke with Sergeant Rossman, who told her RL had admitted to the police that he had pushed KK. Upon information and belief, RL and CL were allowed to attend the game, and CL was allowed to attend the dance despite their role in bullying KK and their assault that they admitted to the police. Now that's pretty problematic too. The police conduct an investigation on an assault and find out that the person who made the assault allegation in fact pushed the person who they said assaulted them. And seemingly were rewarded for it. That is what we call white privilege right there. That's white privilege in action. That's what it is. Assuming, again, this is all true. On Monday, October 2nd, Henningsen again called Miss White. Henningsen said that the district had completed its investigation and it was imposed to cover its not to cover its tracks, would be imposing a 3-day suspension on KK, which would also result in KK receiving an athletic suspension and missing a football game. Miss White asked for details of the investigation, including the number of witnesses spoken to, who the witnesses were, and how they had been identified, or when the district had spoken to them. Because it had been Sunday in the meantime. But Ms. Henningsen refused to provide any such transparency. Oh. Henningsen told Miss White that she had reviewed video evidence of the incident. Well, okay, but we know now that video contained no evidence, so I guess that's one thing we can say that Henningsen did. I guess we've got the "I'm so pissed" and refusing to, pretty much making it a seemingly untrue statement. So, in fact, Levick had told the police that she had reviewed the evidence of the incident, but that video did not show the altercation. Okay. When Miss White told Miss Henningsen it was unfair to issue a suspension based on only witness statements without giving KK an opportunity to know even the basic information about who the witnesses were and what they said, Henningsen replied that even if KK didn't make the alleged threat, she And Levitt could still suspend him based on the text he had sent to CL saying he was willing to meet RL and fight. Here we go. Miss White asked why KK could be suspended based on text he sent on his personal device while off school property and outside of school hours, but the district would not discipline. Okay, sorry. Just to get into that, replied, even if he didn't make the threat, she could still suspend him. That's an admission that they're reaching, and that's not the reason that they're doing it. And they're not even clear on the reason that they're. These people, what is the point of having a Wisconsin administrator's license if you can't even tell a child? What's the point of suspending a child? How are they going to learn? How are they going to get anything if you can't even tell them what the reason for suspending them was? Because you have. Why is the DPI licensing this? We got to ask ourselves that, because the DPI is equally as responsible for this behavior as these administrators are, because they're issuing this administrator's license and setting the criteria that allows these administrators to think that and for curriculum that allows these administrators to believe that this kind of activity is okay. If you can't tell a child why you're suspending them, or a parent why you're suspending them, then don't suspend them. Because then, and believe me, we'll have plenty of, you're doing it for you. Clear, simple. There's no educational purpose to the endeavor, and it's for you, and you're a bully. And moreover, you have no place in the public employment and educational system, because the purpose of an educational system is to educate the pupils of the community, not to employ district administrators. Miss White, okay, bam, we got some hypocrisy question here. Oh, now, Henningsen grew angry and abruptly ended the call. Now, Henningsen gone, Levick's still there. There's some more, but is because we can put it like this. Thompson is to Levick as Levick is to Henningsen. Thompson, I'm going to push Levick out in front here to deal with this problem that I created by telling the village constable, the police officer there, to go threaten you with arrest for exercising your constitutional rights. And then Levick is pushing out Henningsen out in front, and Henningsen can't handle it and is hanging up on people. Henningsen entered a 3-day suspension in KK's disciplinary report that read, this is even more problematic. KK verbally threatened another student during the Whitefish Bay High School homecoming parade adjacent to school grounds. Multiple students in his vicinity reported that he stated, "I'm going to get my mom to shoot you," during an argument with another student. Okay, license needs to be revoked wherever she is now for all of this. Because, again, you can't tell a parent that you can suspend somebody, even if you hadn't done it, and then go right. Why? Because the government can't go around defaming people, just for starters. And this is a government action saying something that they apparently admitting is untrue. Again, this is the allegations. It's not my favorite. Not my favorite. Even MPS in its worst days, at least for me, never did anything like that. I've seen them play a lot of games from this pupil level. I've seen MPS play a lot of games. And I'm sure we could name 10,000 examples on 10 other people and white privilege and gold in my ear and all sorts of things. But I've never seen heard of somebody getting suspended for something that the administrator admits they didn't do. On the afternoon of Monday, October 2nd, Levick pulled two of KK's football teammates into her office and asked them if they had witnessed the incident during the parade to justify the threat of arrest. Levick's demeanor towards KK teammates was cold and intimidating. Levick's demeanor gave KK's teammates the impression that if they tried to stand up for KK, Levick would accuse them of lying. Wow, that is a didactic purpose. That is a totally legitimate use of the power that's entrusted to the Whitefish Bay administrators by the citizens of Whitefish Bay. Totally. KK's teammates told Levick that they had not witnessed the incident during the parade. And let's be clear that whether they had or whether they haven't, under a situation like that, you couldn't really believe that it's... But here they go. Good fellows. They memorialized the conversation thereafter. Good. Let's hear it for these fellows. 3 cheers for KK's teammates. They then texted KK that he had met with Levick, so I guess it's just a singular teammate. 3 cheers for that person, though, nevertheless, with Levick, but felt that if he had tried to stand up for KK, Levick would accuse him of lying. And that, wow, we are just like on perfect timing here. That is precisely the wrong use of, I would normally say employment power here, but I'm going to say the district administrator's power to intimidate or bully children into making a false statement as perceived by these children here. Remember, this is an educational setting, so what is the message that these pupils are supposed to take from that? That they should lie or something else? Well, it's tough. And it's tough, as to quote John Thompson, partially because it hits close to home. But it's tough because it could be you. It could be you. And I think we all sort of have this, we expected better. And right now I'm sad. I'm just sad for I'm sad for the pupils. I'm sad for the pupils. That's what I'm sad for. I'm sad for the teammates. I'm sad for RL. I'm sad for CL. I'm sad for everybody here that's in this environment created by these adults where there's discrimination and really the use of the power entrusted to them to teach our children instead to protect the administrators. And they are teaching our children to lie instead of disciplining the administrators. That's the fault of the school board who know everything about this. So thanks for sticking with us. We'll keep you informed. Oh, we already...